We start our journey with Arch Hammer, a slickster with a slicker suit and a cooler suitcase, who has an uncanny ability to shapeshift. Yes, that is right. Almost like a skinwalker, he can change into other people. Only his face, but Arch can look like anyone he wants to as long as he has a picture of them. We then see that he has newspaper clippings all over his bed of pictures of other people. Mr. Rod Serling states early on that Arch's plan is to destroy some people's lives. Arch finds his first new face, that of musician killed in an accident named John Foster. Arch struts down the alleys looking at pictures of half-naked women and a couple on the bench that's obviously, I believe what they call it is necking. I think. I don't know. He spots his target, a sad lounge singer named Maggie, who just so happens to be Johnny Foster's ex-girlfriend. So Arch, looking like Johnny, does his best. Nobody loves me, tortured artist, and you thought I was dead impression. Now, to everybody out there, if you're ever the guy or gal dressing in all black, saying you're an artist that's office is at a local Starbucks, we all hate you. Sorry about that. Let's go on. Arch's tortured artist who was recently hit by a train act apparently works, and Maggie is all in. So Arch's plan to see that black slinky dress on his floor and a start over seems like it's working. What a scumbag. But Arch needs money for this plan to take effect, so he heads out, but followed by a fellow musician that actually recognizes him. The musician lights his cigarette and notices that the man is not his friend Johnny Foster because Arch changed back to himself. The musician is startled and heads back into the bar, and Arch says aloud that why shouldn't he have a dame like that, and heads off to make it happen. Arch needs some money now, so he stares at a picture of Virgil Starrick, a mobster that was last seen face down in the river. So Arch walks into a hotel to shake down a mob boss named Pinnell that had Virgil killed. Pinnell is understandably confused and acts like he is being visited by the ghost of dumb shit you have done before. So, of course, Pinnell lets the murdered Virgil, but really Arch, take the money that he is owed. Some goons walk in and chase Arch outside. Arch bolts into an alley, breathing heavy, like he is Doc Wagner performing open mic night at an AA meeting. He tries to shapeshift again, but can't until he looks at a picture. He looks at this picture of heavyweight boxer Andy Marshak. The goons, seeing they have the wrong man, walk away. Arch walks out of the alley, still shaken up a bit, and runs into an old man selling magazines. The old man recognizes Andy and is confused why Andy is acting so strange. Arch obviously has no clue who this old man is, but we soon find out that the old man is no other than Andy Marshak's father. But this isn't a great reunion because the old man hates his own son, Andy Marshak. Arch, still looking like Andy Marshak, runs away to his room and starts to pack. A cop shows up at his door to take him in. Arch quickly turns back into himself. The cop walks him downstairs, and Arch, knowing the gig is up, walks through the revolving door and changes himself once again to Andy Marshak to get away. This works. I'm not really sure how it does, but it does. And Arch heads off, only to run into Andy's old man, who is bitter and trigger happy. The old man shoots Arch, a.k.a. Andy, a.k.a. Virgil, a.k.a. Johnny. So I guess all four of them are now dying. Well, there it is. The four of us are dying. It's me, Buck Wonder, joined, like always, by Doc Wagner. There it was, Doc.
Hey, Buck. Thanks for that excellent introduction. I feel like you're Johnny Carson or something.
Yeah.
Well, just wanted to thank everybody for watching. And if you get a moment before we start, if you can hit the like button, it really does help us out.
All right, smile if you're alive.
Doc, let's get right into it. First one we always start out is with the
Actors.
actors.
Let us delve into the realm of these performers, exploring their talents and unraveling their intricacies on this stage of shadows and light.
Yes. Well, since this is called The Four of Us Are Dying, we're going to go over 4 actors. Well, we're going to start with Arch Hammer, who is I guess we'll call him the main lead, played by Harry Towns. This man had 188 credits to his name. His first role was in 1949, The Magic Cottage. It was a TV series, a little bit before my time. I didn't see that one. But his final role was in 1988's TV series Valerie. That was like a spinoff of the Hogan family.
Yeah, Valerie. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
Jason Bateman. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
He retired in 1989 and became a minister, which is respectable.
Okay. All right.
One of 2 stops in the zone. He was in seasons 2 Shadow Play. He was in, of course, 2 Hitchcock Presents. He was in it, but we're getting up with Quincy actors too. He was in a Quincy.
I'm sick and tired of all this secrecy.
And a Charlie's Angels.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little girls who went to the police academy.
And the Twilight Zone's owners will recognize Foster, the trumpet player. He's Ross Martin. And we'll get into his other Twilight Zone in a minute, but his first role was in 1949 in a series called Lights Out. And his final role was in 1983, a TV movie called I Married Wyatt Earp.
Spiegler's Hardware. That's me, Jacob Spiegler, Hardware.
And like I gave a little tease, his first of 2 stops in the Twilight Zone. He was in seasons 4 Death Ship, starring our friend Bill Bixby.
Yeah. Interesting.
Guess what? He was in one of the funniest movies, The Great Race.
In the kingdom of Carpania, if one doesn't waltz, one just doesn't dance, and I love to dance. Only problem is I hate the waltz.
One more thing. He was in a Columbo.
Long enough.
Philip.
Jonathan, let me tell you.
All right. 2 down, 2 to go. Philip Pine played Virgil, the mobster. We'll say, can we say mobster? Is that?
I think mobster's okay. I think it's okay to go after Italian Americans.
Considering that we're both Italian Americans,
yeah,
okay.
I think you're still good with that. Yeah.
You're lucky I got a man of gut in the oven, or I'd bash your face into a bolognese. That's 2 kinds of food. That's how angry I am.
The first role was in 1945. The Sailor Takes a Wife. And he acted up until 2005, a TV short called Creep. Another veteran of the zone, two appearances. He was in seasons 4, The Incredible World of Horace Ford. He was in We Always Get Back to It, and A Have Gun Will Travel. A Dick Van Dyke, which is now available on Amazon. I watched a couple of those just yesterday.
As you can see, I'm not exactly a movie star type.
Kojak, a Quincy, and a Happy Days, of all things.
Wow. Crossing with the Ron Howard of
Yes.
the earlier episodes of
Yes.
the Twilight Zone. It is funny though, Doc, that before we get into the last one real quick, that you see these actors being used over and over again. What show could do that now that just says to the writing of it that you don't even remember? Not in a bad way that you don't remember the other character. It's just so a different character when you play it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's how good the writing was, and that's how good the characters were.
The characters in the acting, because it's always like, oh wait, that guy. It's always that guy was in something. We have, of course, a handful today, but nothing like we did in 1960.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not like extras or U5s or anything like that. Like, like if you grew up where I grew up, everybody that's a wannabe actor was in The Sopranos. Every single one of them, or
Sure.
Law and Order, right? And they might have been in multiple episodes, but they didn't do anything. These guys are like main parts
Right.
in like all those, and yeah, it's interesting. It's
It,
interesting.
it always, always. Marshak was played by Don Gordon. He was quite a prolific actor himself. His first role was in 1949, 12 O'Clock High. And we were just talking about Dick Van Dyke. His last role was in 1993's Diagnosis Murder. But everyone will know him. He's been in so many things. He was in The Towering Inferno. He was buddies with Steve McQueen. He was in Bullet, The Exorcist 3. We're going to bring up Bill Bixby again because he was in The Magician.
I'm just laughing because The Magician, we did go over that on our Heavenly Birthdays. You haven't checked those out? Check those out. Yeah, The Magician, and somebody actually said they remembered him from The Magician, right? And not anything else. So it's pretty funny. But when you said 12 o'clock high, I thought of 3 o'clock high. Does anybody remember that movie in the 80s?
5 seconds. Because at 3 o'clock, he's gonna make history.
There isn't gonna be any fight today!
I was like, "Wow, he was in that."
And that was his first role? Wait a second.
Yeah, his first. Yeah, it made no sense. But yeah, okay, yeah, not 3 o'clock high when the guy's gonna fight him after school. Anybody out there? I'm gonna put a clip of that in. I'm sure.
You should. That's a good one. And
Listen, one more thing. It'll just take a second.
he was in Columbo.
Oh.
I had to now.
It is ironic that they all all these shows, these characters are just, it's like their route, it's like their path where they go,
Yeah, well, and you think about it, I mean, it's only, we'll say 10 years later, give or take, 15 years later with Columbo,
It really is when you really think about it, and you're like, well, 60 to, was Columbo the 80s though? So it's 20 something years.
Well, no, the early Columbos were in the 70s.
Oh, they were?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're so old.
I know. Guilty. I was born old.
That is true. That is true. All right. So those are the actors. Very interesting, though, how they do all run the same gauntlet, I would say, of acting. It's really interesting. And we'll get into like what kind of job they did, because this was a different kind of one where you didn't have this solid main lead that
Right.
we usually have. So very interesting dynamic for the director to work with, I'm sure, to act like him. And we'll get into that a little bit. Well, we might as well get into it now, actually, because I don't know when else we'll talk about it. But as an actor, because we're talking about actors, you have to take what it is, the first character that you actually are, but you look like you, and you're playing this other character, but you're actually playing him as that character. So I wonder how much went into the thinking about, all right, I'm not this boxer, just say the last one, or mobster. I am this guy playing a mobster or a boxer.
Right. And we're going to get into that in fun facts. I'm glad you asked.
Okay, good. I figured we're gonna. Hey, this is how much I don't know what that Doc's gonna say before this, because I like to be kind of caught off guard. But all right.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
it is interesting.
Ready with the shot, Mr. DeMille. All right.
The casting call. Doc, you want to start it out, or you want me to start it out? What do you think? You get the
I'll
choice.
start it out, and
right.
I'm going to surprise you as I surprised me. As you know, I go character actors, 60s, 70s, 80s. I usually go old. I went young here. I went very young. And I'll tell you why I did it.
If you guess the same guy I did, I swear to you, and I feel like you might be going this route. But go ahead.
No, we're going to start with Arch. And I have Asia Butterfield.
Okay.
You may know him from such movies. It was as a child, Boy in the Striped Pajamas. He was also in Hugo, in a more recent TV show called Sex Education.
Has just sacrificed hers for this little piece of shit.
You went almost too young. How old is he?
I think he's like 23, 20. I kind of went in the same.
You went like
20, early, like 21 to 27, I think I went.
All right. So when Doc sees a character that's like in his mid 30s, I think I said 36, Doc will either go 66 or 16. It's what he does. I mean, I just what it is, but I like it. Okay.
I wanted to go somewhere different. And with Foster, the trumpet player, I went with Finn Wolfhard. He was in Stranger Things. He was also in the movie, the remake of It and the second chapter.
Okay.
He's also a musician, which I thought was cool, and I put him in there as Foster, the musician.
All right. First of all, I want to thank the moms who brought all these girls here.
Kind of looks the same. And Lucas Hedges, who was nominated for an Oscar in Manchester by the Sea, which I'm sure it was one of your favorites.
I don't understand.
Which part are you having trouble?
He was also in Lady Bird. I have him as the mobster, Virgil.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And,
wow.
And yet another young buck I have as Marshek, Felix Mollard. He was in Ginny and Georgia, which is currently on Netflix.
All right. You went so young. And it's funny because I went I went a little older than the characters, but not much. And I went way more mainstream than you, where I actually
I have I'll tell you the reason during my fun facts.
Okay. All right. I like it though. I like it. Giving these kids a chance. It's kind of fun. And honestly, if you watch this and you made it now, I do think a younger cast would be a little bit better because besides the fighter that might be punchy, you know what I mean? Because he's a little young, maybe to be punchy. I don't know.
A little bit, yeah.
But other than that, I could see this being 20s, all of them in their 20s. Living life and everything like that. So I could see that. All right. Well, I'm going to go a little bit different here, Doc.
Cool.
And I'm going to go with this actor that, quite honestly, and people might get mad at me about this, I'm not a huge fan of this person. I don't think he's as great as I think he gets the roles for. I think he's okay. But I do like the fact that I kind of thought it would be neat to have somebody who's not attractive at all be the main guy. And it's Adam Driver. Adam Driver, who you know from a lot of things. I think he's got a start on Girls. He was a Marine before. Thank you for your service, Adam.
You're a fan of him.
I'm not a fan of him, really. I'm really not. Not that I'm not a fan. I just think he gets a lot of roles, and I think he's what they call like everyman now, in a sense. Like girls can date him, guys can be buddies with him. Like he's just this
unassuming. You have him as Arch?
I do, because I think it'd be funny if he could change faces, right?
Right.
And he's about 40, I think 41, 42, something like that. He's in his 40s, I think. So I have him, and he's a solid enough actor that I, I'll put him in there. Just because I would think it would be funny that he's so different looking. He's not a handsome man, and to go like to the extremes. So speaking of extremes, the trumpet player,
yes,
and this is a big time extreme. And I'm going with, and I'm breaking barriers here, Doc. I'm going with the first man of color that we have. We have cast. That's right. That's me breaking color barriers. Doc Wagner.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. Perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. I like to rock the world.
That's right. And I'm going with Tay Diggs as the trumpet player. I think, Broadway guy, obviously from Rent, musical. Right. It's kind of funny you said that. I don't think he's this great, whatever. But I think that would have been a cool thing to be the trumpet player and be
Yeah.
Tay Diggs. Nowadays, put a little twist on it there.
Yeah.
Trumpet player, blues, whatever it might be, not being stereotypical, but Tay Diggs, give me him right there as the trumpet player.
Like it.
Now, the mobster, I'm probably going to get mad about using him in this small role, but I do like him, and I've been waiting to use him, and that's Mark Ruffalo. I think Mark Ruffalo, I would really like as the mobster, and Doc has frozen. So I'm going to finish this right now, and I'm going to tell you Mark Ruffalo as as the mobster, and we'll get back to this in a second. If you're still with us, watch. We're going to do a weird cut now. So yeah, so Mark Ruffalo, Doc. I think I'm going to use him again. I really do like him, and I kind of just pictured him being that like kind of I don't know, kind of going in there and being a jerk for a second. I don't. I just thought of him. I mean, I know it's a little tiny small part, especially that one. Yeah, and so I went with
It
Mark
worked.
Ruffalo there. Yeah, yeah, and I went with old school, kind of old school because I probably couldn't use him now. I went a little old on this one, I guess. How about John Favreau as the boxer? I love when John
All right.
Favreau plays like the tough guy linebacker, right? And he kind of looks like that guy that could have been a boxer. And what do you
He
mean? I'm
sure does.
punchy. So I went with
Yeah,
Favreau
punch
on
him.
that one. We
Punch him.
know him obviously from, I mean, the kids probably know him from directing Iron Man, but I'm a big Swingers fan. Rudy, where he met
Of course.
Vince Vaughn, and that's where Swingers came
Swingers
from.
came from.
She was smiling what an asshole. No. She was smiling at how money I was.
Yeah, yeah. So I went with those four. That was fun. I didn't do the girl in the beginning. I was gonna at first, but I was like, it was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to draw the line. When we're already doing 4 main leads, you gotta draw the line somewhere.
Absolutely. Speaking of not drawing the line anywhere, we walk right over it. That's fun facts. Doc.
Fun fact, I was rejected from Scientology, so.
Fun facts, my favorite. All right. Dates of filming, September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 1959. The date that it premiered, January 1st, 1960. So we are leading off the 60s with this episode.
Which is unique as well because anybody in the industry, I mean, I'm sure they probably did it back then as well. I'm sure it's an old thing, but you have hiatus at that time where nothing was filmed, nothing's being put out. So that means they were in production, they were editing, doing whatever, they got it done. Because remember, Hollywood to this day and everything, think about it. You have Thanksgiving, then you have Hanukkah, a lot of Jewish people in Hollywood, obviously, and Christmas and New Year's. So, wow, there were people working on this to get it done, I'm sure, with the editing and everything like that, pushing it out there during that period, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, and the episode we did previously was released on Christmas Day, so they didn't stop.
That's right. Yeah. 3 days again. It seems like that's I think that's what they got.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I always like to highlight it. The total production cost here was $58,821.13.
They're going up a little bit.
Yeah, out of that, the cast was $6,936, and the director was paid $1,250. And I get most of my fun facts, some of my fun facts from the Twilight Zone, Unlocking the Door to a Television Classic. Martin Grahams Jr. Always like to give credit where credit is due. The big book. This is our Bible.
Yes, it is. It's very interesting. If you ever watch one of those and just pop that book open and read it, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you're just saying how these episodes are 3 days, how much money they cost, and the actors and everything like that. You wonder, I'd really like to delve into sometime because I mean, this is where they get you. I don't know if I ever explained this to you, but this is where they get you with everything. And everybody knows this in Hollywood or most industries. How much is their other costs then, right? So you're looking at,
Well,
but
we can do a
you're renting
total
your own
breakdown.
studio because their lot owned the program, right? And that's
Yeah.
the big, yeah. So that's the big thing, and the big thing that people hate when they invest in films or anything like that with a big company. That line is studios renting out their own studio to themselves. So they're charging a big thing, so investors don't get this big thing because they're like, "Oh, we spent $1 million on our locations." Well, you own the location, so
Right.
you charged yourself rent. And I wonder, and I'm sure because that's how Hollywood was, that's what they did. Because if they were on most lots, which they were definitely on a lot there, right? That they
Yeah, and
probably
this
owned.
episode, I think, was filmed all on sound stages and stuff.
Yeah, so they charged themselves. So was that budget really? I get it. It was time.
Yeah,
It was
I don't know because it's Cuyahoga production company, which was owned by Rod Serling. So I'm not sure how all
well,
that.
so they're charging Rod Serling when they own his product, then
Right.
that's what they do. And I'm sure, and I guess it'd be normal if they charged him, and maybe they did charge him a normal rate, but they always inflate their rate.
I'm
That's what
sure.
I'm saying. So
And you know what? Maybe we can do is we can blow up. We have all the from down to the penny. That's how detailed this book is. And we can put it up on our next episode. This is what the secretary was. This is what the rental fee was. This is what
yeah,
yeah, let's do that.
they covered all their costs. That's what
Yeah.
they did. And then
Yep.
they owned probably 95% of it.
You're right.
After they paid themselves. It's kind of like, hey, I own 95% of it. Come in for free. No. If anything, they usually jack up the price. I'm just wondering if they did that to Rod. But if you're Rod
Interesting.
Serling and his company, what do you do? Say no? I mean, they got you.
Right.
Welcome to Hollywood.
They got you.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Rod Serling, this is the first episode where he does not say in the Twilight Zone at the ending. Only said that in a handful of episodes.
Really?
And this was the first one. Yeah. Yep. He did not. Rod didn't write this one. It was written by a man by George Clayton Johnson, who wrote 7 total Twilight Zones.
I'm George Clayton Johnson. I make a living daydreaming. A lot of these daydreams have ended up on popular television shows. I have credits on The Twilight Zone and Route 66 and Mr. Novak and The Law and Mr. Jones and Honey West and Kung Fu.
You may know we're both big fans of movies from the 60s. He wrote Ocean's 11.
Oh, obviously. I almost said the original. I'm telling you, I'm there now.
I like turtles.
Yeah, wow, that was Ocean's 11 is a great. I mean, that's a cool story. It really is.
Yeah. The first one. I mean, that cast, you really can't get much cooler.
No, just cooler. You said it right.
You know, did it is get a total sidebar. Norman Fell is in that. You have who's Mr. Roper.
Stan, are you drinking beer in the can again?
No, I'm drinking it right here in the living room.
Yeah. Wow. We
You have Sinatra,
Three's Company hasn't come in here. Don't worry. John Ritter will show up.
So, I don't know what this next line is, but I know it's mine. And so
I almost said Jack Tripper, by the way.
He was paid $500. George Clayton Johnson was for this. And here's a cool quote that I found on the internet that Johnson said. He said that Twilight Zone played just as much as a part of the transformation of the 1960s as rock and marijuana.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's pretty heavy company in the 60s. I mean, yeah.
Twilight Zone, pot, and rock. I mean, sounds pretty fun.
I've noticed now since we've been doing the show, Doc, that I hear somebody say like Twilight Zone all the time, even like sometimes even like kids, and I say kids, I mean people in their 20s, where it might be just something not about the shows, but about like, oh, it was like being in the Twilight Zone, or it was like something that was written from the Twilight Zone. And I hear it so much in everyday language that it's pretty
It's
it's a
like an
staple.
adjective now, almost.
Like we can say like,
Yeah.
what are you, Columbo? You know what? But there's people out there that don't use that a lot, but it's pretty big. Columbo, I'm not
Right.
trying to knock your guy, Doc.
You know, I appreciate what you're doing. I really do.
So settle down. Doc's seeing red right now. Don't you ever badmouth Peter Falk.
Okay. It's okay. I like you, Buck.
Well, just one more thing.
But you're right. It's become almost like an adjective or even a verb. The terminology Twilight Zone. You're absolutely right.
I feel like when people say it sometimes, when they're like, oh my, it was like I'm stuck in a Twilight Zone. I feel like being like, have you ever seen an episode? And they're probably like, no.
Right. Oh.
And
well, then why don't you watch our podcast?
Yeah,
why don't you watch us on YouTube then?
There you go.
Well, there was a couple differences, as a writer, Buck, that what you put on paper necessarily doesn't translate to the screen. The ending, that Arch was killed by a gas station attendant that had some kind of beef with him, and an Arch could only change faces of people that he actually knew. So just a little bit little different. But he also appeared to people as the person they most desired to see.
Okay, so all right. I have a note of that, Doc, while I was watching it again. And it confused me. And this is one of the parts I didn't like about it because it confused me. And when he has to look at concentrate, and I'm like, when he's running away from the mobsters, right? They're trying to kill him. And before he just changed like nothing. Right. And then he's got to concentrate. He's like, oh, and he's got to look around and find something. It confused me because I went, wait a second, he didn't do that before.
He did it with the Foster. He did it with Foster.
But how come he couldn't change back to himself? He changed back to himself with no problem. That's what I'm saying. He was trying to change back to himself and he couldn't do it. So that bothered me a little bit. It did. But I like what you said, because that's actually one of my notes too. Like, I like that part of it. And it's funny because like I like this episode because of that dynamic that could happen and what they could do with it other than that. And what would be somebody you have to know, somebody you have to see. And I thought that's why he had the pictures of the people. But I didn't know he could get stuck in those people. And like maybe he had to carry around a picture of himself and look at it, right? Something like that. Something that he had to say, and then he lost the picture. And now he's got to find a mirror. No, mirror wouldn't work. He don't look like it. That was stupid.
No.
But yeah.
And he looked like that.
But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent about that.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. And I told you I alluded to this earlier. Getting back to the 4 actors, did tease it for you. At first, they thought they could just use one actor to play all roles, but then they realized makeup time. It would just be a freaking nightmare. Like, what are you going to put a wig on?
And
makeup.
Especially back then, it would look corny. You know it would. I mean, they weren't as good at it. And were they thinking of the main actor there to do it? Because they had a lot of faith in him. If that was.
Well, no. What they did with Rod Serling, John Brehm, who was the director who also directed our buddy Henry Bemis, and the casting director, Millie Gus. So shout out to Millie. They decided that the characters should be 5'10", weighing about 150 pounds, and have dark hair. And all 4 had to possess the same drive, and none could be a grandstander. So 12 people showed up to the audition, all wearing the same dark, almost like a Rod Serling suit, dark shirt or dark jacket, dark tie, white shirt. And the actors were supposed to ask questions. And the 4 ones that asked the most intelligent questions pretty much got the role.
Wow, that's the weirdest like chemistry test casting call ever.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
funny story is real quick, not to bore anybody about my story, but this is a funny one that I did the same, not the same thing, but I went to an audition one time and they would ask you questions and they say off the top of your head, answer. And you would answer. And they I remember them asking me like, what kind of who would you rather be, Batman or Superman? And you have to answer like real quick, why? And they'd say, if you come home late at night and it's dark out, do you, pee standing up or pee sitting down because whatever, you don't want to turn on the light. And I said the most ridiculous answers. This is a true story. And I actually got the part, oddly enough. And because I was just like, this is stupid. I don't know what they're doing to me. Like I'm on camera saying these dumb things. And I remember when they asked me that one question, I said, I don't know, am I drunk? And they said, excuse me. I said, if I'm drunk, I'm just gonna piss in the shower. And they on tape because I didn't give a shit. And
No, but
well, the funny
that's
thing was, and
great.
then Batman and Superman question. That's why I remember those two. And I said, well, I'd obviously want to be Superman. Batman's just a rich kid with a bunch of toys. Superman's got special powers. Like that's just dumb. It's a stupid
Right.
question. And the character I ended up playing was a guy who was kind of like that. And I don't know if it was a test, but funny story. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Well, yeah, and that's pretty that's almost what they did in the guys who asked the right questions and they gelled. Kind of interesting.
It
But just
is.
I know we
I
talked
mean,
about it
actors are on
when we were. So that's why I did my actors solely based on that
okay.
information.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of cheated, but
Okay.
didn't cheat.
All right. Well, no, it's
Um,
fine. It's fine. I mean, listen, that's an educated guess, an educated, an educated cast you put together. That's good. No, it does make sense. It
uh,
makes sense. It's interesting that they did that. It is because, like I've always said before, there's such a fine line between actors, and I'll be the first one to say it. When you even think you're good, there's 100 other people are good too. Even the people you think are great, I guarantee you there's 100 other ones next door that are just as good as that great one. It's the little things.
that yeah, like you had mentioned earlier, and it's like anything in life. You're the guy who puts a sandbag
Yeah,
over his shoulder and helps the crew. You have to stand out, and it's like anything in
exactly,
life.
exactly. Like I remember my first meeting with Harvey Weinstein.
But Weinstein's lawyers claim their relationship was consensual. News 4's Erica Byfield joining us live in Lower Manhattan to break down the rest of her testimony. Erica.
Never won't get into that one.
So Beverly Garland, who played the lounge singer, she actually she had her own vocals with one for My Baby and one for the road.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I was wondering about her as an actor, because I was watching her and thinking about it.
Yeah, she acted up until like the 90s, early
Really?
aughts.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's I gave you maybe one or two extra fun
Okay.
facts, but I love my fun facts.
We all love them too, Doc. We do.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go right into it. What do you think now? What do we do? Symbolism? What do you think? Symbolism?
Symbolism is just too delicious.
Obviously, I think there's a lot of moral symbolism in this, right? Like, no matter what you do, something's going to catch up to you. Your life's, everybody's got problems somewhere. You're hiding. So something can catch up to you. Obviously, the major moral to this, but I did like the hotel reel. Did you notice that they kept showing the hotel reel? And that
Yeah.
was the big one I took of it. I mean, the simple one is like, you can't almost like, when you run from trouble and they always say, I mean, at least I always say, I don't know if everybody says it, but wherever you go, you can change the background. You're still you. So you can't like run away. You can't go move somewhere when you're still you. Shit's going to catch up to you. You're going to be you later on. You're gonna still be whatever. You got to change you. You can change the drapes, doesn't matter, And I think that was a big thing with this. Obviously, the symbolism of you're on the run all the time. You're sooner or later gonna get caught because you're still you. No matter what you look like, no matter where you go, you can move. You know, how many people are like, well, you know, I'm a piece of shit in this town, so I'm gonna go move and have a fresh start. And if you're a piece of shit there, it's gonna be the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, you're running from the law.
Right.
You're
Trust
gonna
me,
get
I
caught
know.
up.
I've moved everywhere.
And after a lot of time and consideration, I realized who I was. I'm a piece of shit.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to agree so
I think you lived
quickly,
in every
Doc.
time zone, right? You lived in every time zone.
I have.
Couple of-
That is true. I have lived in every time zone. Yeah, not around the world, but yeah,
In the
yeah, I
States.
definitely have. So that's my symbolism, Doc. What do you
All
think?
right. Well, I went a little bit buck on mine. So the title of this is "The Four of Us Are Dying." Four. So four signifies a lot of things. Four seasons. There are four: north, south, east, and west. Four signifies.
Well, how
like
about four horsemen?
The four horsemen! And I reiterate, whether you like it or not, learn to love it!
The four horsemen signifies a type of completion. It could have easily been three, could have easily been two people, could have been five. I think there is some kind of type of significance with the number four for this, and the four of us are dying signifies that one arch is dying. And I also a little bit of symbolism, kind of like what we saw with Henry Bemis.
And now, deep thoughts.
You got to be happy with the cards you're dealt. You can't be gripping for and reaching for things that are out of control. You know, happiness comes from within. It's not something that you can get from a job, a pretty girl, or stealing some money. Happiness comes from within, and he saw it in
Yeah, you're the same person. You can switch. Yeah.
Yeah, he saw it in each of the characters that come back to bite him. Like to your point, you can run away, but you're fine. You're going to get bit in the ass.
Yep, that is true. All right, that's good. That's good, Doc. Went deep with it. I do like that four, and like I said, even like add the four horsemen of the apocalypse. It's apocalypse, right? Like it's ending.
Apocalypse.
But I get it. You know, like
and it's ending for Arch.
Even a clock. Everything's a quarter. It goes to one, right? He was just a horse's ass. Let's face it. Shout out to Aiden.
Fair.
All right, so
we're gonna go
influences.
You are the bad influences.
I'll lead off on this one. I have spoken about this show frequently, and our favorites. I'm gonna go Quantum Leap. I think that it's a little bit of a stretch. Because I mean Sam and Al were like great guys, but just stepping into someone's shoes, this time that person.
I'm retarded?
As opposed to stealing a girlfriend but the idea of stepping into someone else's shoes, I think that Quantum Leap has some similarities.
Has a lot of similarities. You're absolutely right, because he could have done exactly that. He could have looked at things and been like, I'm going to jump into him and make him better and help him instead of whatever,
right.
When people closure on things, that somebody died or whatever, he could have been, highway to heaven. Who knows, right? Like he could have did something. Yeah. No, I agree. Quantum Leap. I didn't think of that one, but that's a good one. It's a good one. Any more?
That's the main one. That's.
I totally thought you were going to get a couple of these. Yeah,
I'm putting Scott Bakula in my hip hop, by the way.
Well, how about
I'm going now?
How about for me? I'm going to go with how about being John Malkovich?
Oh,
all the
wow.
people going into John Malkovich's and being John Malkovich and doing because all of a sudden they're Malkovich. They see the world. They can control him. He's the puppet, right? Yeah. So I thought
Right.
that one.
It's my head, Schwartz. It's my head.
Taking people's identities. Obviously, the talented Mr. Ripley. Got to have a shout out to Matt Damon, because he's from New England.
How do you like them apples?
Doc, got to do that one out there. Talented Mr. Ripley. But there
Bill
was one
Clinton.
I remembered. It's really funny, and I had to think about it. And it was called Taking Lives. From his name is the director was DJ Caruso. Yeah,
I
Angelina
know the
Jolie
name.
was in it. I think it bombed, but it had a bunch of stars in it. But it was like a serial killer who would kill people and then take their life over, kind of. Not a little bit of a Talented Mr. Ripley, more of a thriller.
Accident to fake his own death, and then he took the boy's identity. He's like a hermit crab. He outgrows one shell and he starts looking for a new one. Tim. All of these men have something in common. Simply a life different from his own.
I mean, when you have somebody who did Disturbia, he did a bunch of
Okay.
I Am Number 4, Triple X. He did a bunch of weird stuff too. He directed series of The Shield over there, Smallville, Dark Angel. So
Okay.
I would say this guy was very influenced by something like this. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I know the name and a couple of those I have
Yeah,
have
and
watched.
they're all kind of mostly thriller he does and things like that, but it's definitely
Right.
supernatural stuff. But that Taking Lives, I feel like maybe this might have influenced it a little bit. But
I'll put it on my
definitely
queue.
being John Malkovich, I think. Yeah,
No,
that's
no doubt. No doubt. I think I might have I think I might have to do a couple episodes of Quantum Leap and
yeah, the Taking Lives isn't very
John
good.
Malkovich.
If I remember correctly, it's not very good, but I mean the concept is there. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Malkovich, so that's
Okay.
a great one. They're in my
Oh.
head.
So good. So
Yeah.
good.
I think the best part about John Malkovich is when he's sitting there reading, and because I know how that is to read into a tape recorder, but he's so good at it. Like he sounds much better than I do. When he's just like, so the man went over there and talked to the man. You're like, what? He just sounds so good, just talking to a tape recorder. And
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in the hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Now, you know what they say about hopes? They're what we cling to when reality has left us nothing else.
His diction, his
and everything.
Excellent.
He's good. He's good. All right, so that's our influences. Now we're going right to best scenes.
He compiled all the best boner scenes, I guess.
I didn't take a particular scene this time, Buck. What I did, I thought that the score, I really liked the score in this overall throughout the entire episode. I felt it gave a little bit of like noir feel to it, and kind of like a just it was constantly there. And I'll get to it in my ratings, but the score was my favorite because it added a lot to it added a lot to it, and I almost felt like I was watching like a Philip Marlowe
And it changed with the characters, if you notice. And it did tell a story. I mean, which of course they did, but it did it really well. I do agree. I do have a note on the score. It was pretty cool. Like it was, even when he went to his apartment, it was different. And then
yeah. Nothing is just that thrown there. That's what's. I mean, nothing is just. Oh, hey, we're just going to throw this in. Every detail down to the score is done well in the whole series. But just it's
very interesting. Very interesting. My best scene was I obviously thought it was with the father, because that was the big, oh yeah, this is the least amount it's going to catch up to you. It's going to be this random, old guy where you thought the mobsters would get him, or he'd run into some angry wife that he cheated on or something, like, yeah, the
girlfriend.
old man that's
Yeah.
your dad. Like, and obviously, I thought like how the dad played it. I really enjoyed that scene because at first you thought that it was going to be this like nice thing, and apparently, obviously, it
Right.
wasn't. And everything. So yeah, so that was my favorite scene. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they're all I did like them all. I like the. We'll talk about it when we get to ratings, but that was good. It was good.
Okay.
All right, so I guess it's time for that. Let's go.
Ratings.
Well, who are you to judge me?
I really, really enjoyed this concept. And like I said, and even more so, I wish this definitely you could make into a movie, an hour easy. Just what he could do. There were some questions I had obviously on it where, yeah, the morality of it kind of bothered me, but some people are bad guys. Where if you could do that, you could do first of all, you could just be living high on anything. I mean, you could just make yourself LeBron James and walk into a locker room and get a bunch of autographs and sell them on eBay and walk out the door.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Just need some food and some wine. I'll be all right.
You know what I mean? Like really simple stuff, right?
Right.
So, like why be a hustler? That question that or whatever it is. Obviously, nowadays, if they redid it, it'd be more elaborate what this person was doing, I'm sure. Yeah, as long as
No
they
doubt.
make him
Stealing
yeah,
cars.
yeah, as long as
Yeah.
they make him a superhero. Go to any casino you want, you're gonna be comped, and that guy's gonna be, like, charged for it. Like, you could do shady stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Sure.
I like I'm sure the original story, which they probably couldn't explain with him having to look at things or do whatever, see it or not see. We had the what do you say? You had to concentrate on seeing what it was or know the person, something like
No, it was somebody who the person
yeah,
knew.
yeah, yeah, like,
So
you
yeah.
could do a lot of things
Yeah.
with that, like, you could make it so that maybe you had to touch the person, so if you wanted to be LeBron James, you had to go shake his hand, right? And yeah, cool thing, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I think such sky's the limit with this story, more than I've seen yet with anything else, I mean, they're all great, but this, I think, had this I mean, this is
Look at
borderline
this.
superhero, right? And I don't like superhero stuff. They kept him not being a superhero. That'd be great. Like normal guy doing this.
Right.
So I really did like it a lot. I did. That it was too short for me. I didn't like him not concentrating on the things. Wasn't crazy about his I wanted to know why he was doing this more than he explains that he's cheap and he's whatever.
Yes.
Yeah,
You have
so
that written
I
down.
don't know if that turned me off a little bit, but I'm going a solid 7.5 here. Solid 7.5 here. I am. I'll probably go reach back and maybe do an 8 if I see it. I just really like the story a lot. Other than that, it was too quick. It was, the reason why it's not a 9 or a 10 to me, it's memorable, but one of the characters aren't as memorable. It's not Bemis. It's not, um, if I had more time
Sure.
with this would probably be a 9 or a 10. Like if it was an hour long, this would be a 9 or a 10. Yeah. So I'm going
Wow.
7.5
Okay.
with it. Solid. Yep.
7.5. Well, yeah, and you're right. In the very beginning, Rod Serling says he's a cheap man, and he could be cheap, but what like why? That part really bothered me. The other part that bothered me, the voices. How did he know how fought the trumpet player spoke, the mobster spoke, the boxer spoke? How did he know their mannerisms? How
Oh, yeah,
like he's
yeah. I
talking
had
to
that
the
question
ex-girl?
too, Doc. I was like, wouldn't people question like if I walked in the room tomorrow with anybody that knows me, they'd be like, "What's wrong with you? Something's off." And no one
Right.
questioned
Yeah,
it.
you sit differently. Or oh hey, I have to wear glasses or not glasses.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That I know you have to take some reality out of this because
Because
it's
people
a
can't just
fantasy
do that.
show,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that bothered me. The other thing bothered me was the clothes. I'll give you an example. When the policeman is, I think it's like a hotel or an office building or somewhere where he's getting chased by the policeman. He had the same, he changed the face, but it's the exact same suit.
But he was right in
on that he
front of
had
him, and that
when
turnstile. I have that note.
he was
He's
right
right
in
in
front of
front of him.
him.
They could have made him at least turn a corner. Like he's right in front. I don't care. I'd be like, I know that's you. I'm not crazy. You're getting handcuffed. That's it. Yeah, they could have. They could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's a direction thing. They should have just made him turn a corner, or the cop slip, maybe something.
Why was it so?
That was silly.
I did not enjoy this as much as you. And I'm giving it a 4.
Wow. All right. A 4. All right.
I acting for the most part. I think that the guy who acted Arch did a quality job, but I feel like the other actors, I feel like a lot of things were forced, and maybe that's what the direction was, because maybe, oh hey, I'm nervous because I've got to get myself out of a jam.
That's how I took it.
But-
Like it was him playing them. I feel like the direction
Yeah,
probably was like, don't be too sharp. Don't be like, hey, you know me, honey. You know, I do this. No, you don't. You're just like, okay, this is I'm not going to take too many risks because you're that guy. But once again, I do think it's hard to tell in 23 minutes or whatever it was, 25 minutes.
Exactly. And you're right. It would have been a great movie. Couldn't do it today because I love if you do a movie, I would love to do it for been in the 60s, because you have cell phones, you have so many other distractions that part of it with the charm is, okay, shit, who am I going to be? What am I going to be?
Oh yeah, that's
But
right.
that
You
also-
could just pull it up and be like, okay. You're like, yeah, you're right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Be like, oh, hey, I want to be Buck Wagner. Here I am.
No one's saying that. No one. Trust me. No. I don't even. I'd be somebody else.
But yeah, this is the first one I think that we were too really far off. Maybe we might have 1 or 2, but this was I believe.
Yeah, we're really far off this one. Yeah. I'm just really, I'm just a real fan of the story. To me, this is like the Twilight Zone. Yeah, there's a lot of, that's why I said like it could be a 9 or 10 for me, because I love the story so much. But there is those little things. But I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, being like if it was longer and they did their best. I mean, which, we don't rate them on if they did their best or not. But I just really, really enjoyed this one. It went by fast in a good way. I like the multiple actors. There was nothing boring about it. It was quick, so yeah, no, but I get it. It's one of the ones I get where people probably don't like, and they it's kind of like,
yeah.
You
can't. Hey, it's a different one. That's for sure. But we've got a couple all-stars coming up after this one. So Third from the Sun is next, and oh man, I can't wait for that one.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
next week. Next week on Classic Couch.
Yes, we will get that out there to you. I'm excited. All right, well, that's it for us here at Classic Couch. Doc, anything to tell anybody out there before we go?
No, we're going to take on Third from the Sun, and we're going to be doing a whole bunch of other stuff, and we can't wait to put it out there for everybody.
We're working on a lot of other things.
I'm working on some Hitchcock, so stay tuned.
Yes, he is. Stay tuned. Hit that like, subscribe, and notifications if you can. Please help us out. And we do live shows. Every 5 episodes, we pop it up with a live show to go over, recap those 5 with everybody out there. So, for me, Buck Wagner, and Doc Wagner, and everybody here at the Triple Clowns, we'll see you later, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Give me the ball, Augie. Give me the ball. Bad dog.